This is the real Lamzu Atlantis killer. This, in my opinion, the VXE Mat R Plus, is a combination of three of my favorite claw grip gaming mice to ever exist. The Lamzu Atlantis, the XM2, and the Pulsar X2, resulting in what I would like to say is easily my favorite Lamzu Atlantis killer and one that should make them really quiver in their boots. This is simply my favorite relaxed claw grip shaped gaming mouse that I've ever tried for medium hand sizes. And it is almost my daily driver, if only for one issue. But start off with the shape. Now this thing has a similar size to the Lamzu Atlantis, making it bigger than the Pulsar X2 Medium and the Endgame Gear XM2, with it being quite bulbous in the center of the hump, giving quite a bit of support there in the middle of your palm, which might be intrusive for some, but very comfortable for others, and I think it makes the mouse more like the XM2 in that regard. The clicks themselves have deep grooves and divots, and the sides curve in quite aggressively, making it more like a Pulsar X2 in a regard, but the sides angle inwards, which is more like a Lamzu Atlantis or XM2, so kind of combines all these different little aspects. As a result, the shape of this mouse is an amalgamation of all three, and personally, VXE really found like a Goldilocks combination of things here for a claw grip shape. The hump is more supportive than the Lamzu for relaxed claw especially. The click height is even lower than the Lamzu Atlantis, making it more like the X2, which I think is a great thing. And the deep grooves and curves on the body makes it feel like a Lamzu Atlantis, which I love, but with more locked-in finger positioning because the grooves kind of guide your fingers into specific spots on the mouse. Now, this isn't going to be an advantage for everyone. Some people like less grooves and flatter sides, which give you more flexibility in where you can place your fingers. But I find that the way they did the grooves don't feel very restrictive, and they feel very, very comfortable for me. So I super enjoy this shape. For my 19.5cm long hands, I find that it works great for both fingertip grip and claw grip, but I do foresee that with the hump being more towards the back of the mouse, if you have more of an aggressive grip where your hand is sitting on top of the mouse, it might feel a little restricted or blocked because of that puffy hump at the back. As far as using this gaming mouse goes, it's very natural to flick and track on this thing, thanks to how this shape really supports me just enough to flick well, but is lean enough and loose enough and small enough where I can have a loose grip for tracking. All in all, this thing feels very, very natural for me and my gaming. As for size recommendations, this is a good mouse, I think, for 18 to 21cm long hands to claw, especially if you're doing more of a relaxed claw grip, and for 19cm and longer hands to fingertip grip. It's probably not ideal to palm grip this mouse because your hands will be rotated rearwards by the hump being all the way at the back. Moving on, the clicks are, in my opinion, the one thing that are okay only on this gaming mouse. They're not bad, by the way. They're quite nice with no real pre or post travel, but I do wish they were crisper and sharper rather than the locky clicks that optical switches these days all tend to sound like. By no means bad, and I really do enjoy it with pretty consistent click feel throughout, though it does get lighter towards the front. Scroll wheel feels pretty solid with decent notchiness, though I think it's a little too easy to bump. And the thumb buttons feel pretty good with pretty crisp actuations and basically no pre or post travel, which is great. The coating is actually quite grippy, feeling only a little bit more slippery than the Razer Viper V3 Pro, and I think the weight is very nice at a real light 42 grams with really excellent balance if you look at that. Internally, it's also very solid with an option of 3395 or 3950 sensor, and both variants of this actually support 8000Hz wireless polling rate, so you don't have to be concerned which one you're getting, though the 3950 version also does 8000Hz wired as well. You also have the choice between a smaller 200mAh battery or a bigger 500. I went with the 500mAh battery for this because I always forget to charge, but that makes this the Mat R Plus variant. I didn't get the 3950 version because they didn't have it in stock. Of course, the bigger battery does add weight, but this thing is only 42 grams, whereas the 200 one is 39 grams, so both mice are very, very light. The mice feet are also very slippery as well. This mouse has really solid battery life, and it lasts about 50-60 hours of use, which is as expected for battery capacity of that size. So should you buy the VXC Mat R Plus? Well, I think this is a very excellent gaming mouse, and I think it's absolutely one of, if not the best budget claw grip gaming mouse available right now for relaxed claw and normal claw grips. It's also a solid shape for most other claw grips too, and fingertip grips as well. It's well spec'd, well executed, at an insanely good price, at about 20 USD cheaper than the Lemzu Atlantis. And if you get the even cheaper spec, you can save even more money because the performance is plenty good no matter which model you end up buying. Now, I personally think the only thing that's not the most ideal about this mouse is that the clicks aren't as crisp and sharp as I prefer. And if VXC started selling other click variants of this, maybe with crisper switches, I'll probably end up with this as my daily driver. But I think for most people, these clicks are going to feel plenty good because most people aren't as picky as I am. So yeah, this mouse, phenomenal value, brilliant shape, and I think is a serious Lemzu Atlantis contender that you should look at if you're looking for a claw grip, medium-sized gaming mouse. Subscribe.